Okay, function notation. Function machine, it's a fancy way to say y equals. Very simple. Okay? So looking at this, we've got something that we've never seen before. But we have seen stuff like this before, right? Yeah. What is this called without an equation? What would this be called?
Equality.
An expression. Okay? So let's go put in the word. You see where the fancy mustache? Beautiful. Now my pen's not working. Okay, so where that little fancy mustache is, and then the arrow, does everybody see that in the bottom right-hand corner?
Yes.
I want you to, in that box, I want you to write expression. Beautiful. This makes me so happy. I love technology so much. Oh, good. Good. Everything's freaking out now. Expression. Okay? But this is also where we plug in. Okay? This is where we're going to plug in the things that we learned about today. Again, we're used to plugging things in on the back of your last homework. That's what you did. Okay? It told you x equaled a number. You took that number, you plugged it into the equation to find the new answer, right?
Yes.
That's what we're doing today. It's just a fancy way to give you all this information. So, what we're going to do is we're going to look. And instead of saying, oh my goodness. Instead of saying y equals, it has a what there? F and a x. Okay, what I want you to do with your pen, pencil, colors, I don't care. Go draw a big old Y over it. Because F of X is just a very, very fancy way to say Y equals. Now, how can I tell each of you apart? You all have something. You all have a name, right? Hopefully. Your faces are all a little bit different. But your name identifies you. Would you agree? Okay? I'm not going to be like, hey, you with the face. No, right? I'm going to be like, hey, Nathan. And then you're going to pay attention because you understand what I'm saying. You understand your name. That's the same thing with this letter right here. That's like the face of the equation. Okay? But it's the name. Now, they could change this F, and it could be
Q.
It could be E. It could be an A. They've got 26 options here. Really 25 because they would never put X next to an X. That would be confusing. Okay? But all this letter does right here is names your equation. So, in the box that's pointing to that letter, do me a favor and write names the equation. Your F names the equation. Again, this should be really, really simple. This should not be something new. It is a new concept in the sense of like you've never seen it like this before, but it's not going to be anything new that you haven't done before. Okay? Now, you see where this box is pointing? What is it pointing to? The X. Okay? The X is going to be what you replace all your X's with. So you replace all your X values with the number here. And you're going to understand that here in a second. Remember, you just, on your homework, you were told X equals a number. You took that number, you plugged it in. That's pretty much what you're told here. So if it said F parentheses 4, wherever your X is, you're now going to plug in a 4. It's just that simple. Okay? Don't overthink it. Now, this bottom part is talking about this whole section right here. Again, I told you this was just a fancy way to say Y. So down here, I want you to write same as Y equals, but it's read as f of x. Is it always going to be f? No, it could be g of x. It could be a of x. Whatever letter they put there, they name that function. That's how you read it. Pretty simple? Okay, so let's go look at what a function means, what a function machine looks like. So notice it says find and illustrate f of 2 and f of negative 1 using the function machines. This is like a vending machine. Whatever you put in, you're going to get something out of. Okay? Just like a relationship. Whatever you put in, there's going to be an output. Okay? So, for example, on this first machine, we're going to put in f of 2. Which means what number am I putting in for x? 2. So inside your machine, I want you to write a 2. What was the expression that's related to f of x? Y equals, but keep reading. Y equals what? 2. Keep looking up. You just showed me. Nope, look.
3x plus 1.
What's your expression that's relevant to f of x?
Y. 3x plus 4.
3x plus 4. Okay? So inside your machine, I need you to write 3x plus 4. But wherever x is, we're now plugging in a what? 2. Notice, please do me a favor, guys. Notice what they do with this 2 right here. What is it inside?
Parentheses.
So guess how you plug it in?
Parentheses.
Oh, y'all are so smart. Okay, so we're going to say 3 parentheses 2 plus 4. And you're going to type it into your calculator exactly how that looks. Don't change anything. And what's your answer?
10.
Yes.
So guess what your output is?
10.
10. Guess what your y equals?
10.
10. Because you already know what your x was. What was your x?
12. I mean 2.
2. What's your y?
10.
10. So now you have an ordered pair that you can graph on your graph. Because your x was 2, your output was 10. Pretty simple? It's not hard. Don't overthink it.
Okay.
Now, let's try this machine. What am I going to do instead? F of negative 1. So I'm going to write that here. What's going inside my parentheses, or inside my machine? Negative 1. So write that here. What was my f expression?
3x plus 4.
3x plus 4. But now instead of x, what am I plugging in?
Negative 1.
But it goes inside what?
Parentheses.
Parentheses. So I've got 3 parentheses, negative 1 plus 4. Beautiful thing your calculator is. What does it give you?
1.
1. So what's my x in this problem?
Negative 1.
And what was my y?
1.
There you go. Pretty simple. Not too hard.
Sure.
Let's look on the inside.
Oh.
There's different names now. Do you see how they gave you 2 functions?
Yes.
One is what?
F.
And one is?
G.
So there's different ones. That's why we've got to pay attention to our names. Because y'all are all different. I can't just give everybody the same grade. Right? You all do something different. Same thing here. F is going to do something different than the G equation. So what I want you to go do is I want you to pay attention to the fact that these are asking you to find different things. Sometimes it's asking you to use the F expression. Sometimes it's asking you to use the G expression. So on the fake number 1, because none of these are numbered, what expression am I going to be using?
3. Or x 2 plus 3.
X squared plus 3. But instead of writing x, what am I going to plug in?
3.
So I've got parentheses 3 squared plus 3. And in your calculator, what does that give you? Say it with confidence.
12.
12. Would you agree?
Yes.
Pretty simple, right?
Sure.
What was your x in this situation?
3. Yeah, 3.
What was your y?
12.
There you go. So, what is my second number asking me to use?
X plus 1.
X plus 1. But instead of writing x, I'm going to write
3.
So I've got parentheses 3 plus 1. What does that give me?
4.
Y'all are brilliant.
Yeah, we are.
How do you feel so far?
Good.
Good? Okay. You do the next two.
Okay.
And I'm going to race you. Ready, set, go.
It's cheating. I didn't start me.
Give me a thumbs up if you agree with my answers.
I got a copy of it.
Give me a thumb sideways if you don't agree.
I don't even know. I'm confused on how you know if it's like if it's what's it called? It's a little toothy.
Yeah, exponent?
Yeah.
Squared?
Yeah.
I just type it in exactly how it looks in my calculator.
I know, but how do you know if it's squared or not?
Because up here it tells me it's squared. See how this one says square, but this one doesn't? So I've got to make sure I pay attention to that. Okay, so some of you are giving me sideways thumbs. And it's probably because of this guy right here.
Yeah.
So here's my question. When you plugged it into your calculator, how did you type it in? You typed in parentheses, then what?
-2.
Close your parentheses.
Yes.
Then what?
Squared.
And then what?
Plus 3.
Okay? But here's why you would have gotten a different answer.
No,
Okay? Or here's the problem. When we plug in, we have to put just the x in parentheses. Okay? And here's why. Your calculator is very, very, very smart, and it's always going to follow PEMDAS. Okay? So that means it takes care of its parentheses first, then its exponents, then multiplication. Okay? PEM. Right? So parentheses has a -2 in it. Nothing to do inside that parentheses, so your calculator is going to move on to the exponents, which means it takes -2 times -2 to give me a +4. Here, what it does is it moves straight to your exponents. But what is your exponent touching? You see it as a -2, but guess what your calculator sees? A +2. So it says 2 times 2 is 4, and then for multiplication, it distributes a negative sign. Okay? So you have to be smarter than your calculator here. And you are, right? Sometimes. Okay? But we're going to put our x inside parentheses always. This 2 does not go inside the parentheses. It was outside my x. Does everybody understand the difference there? So this is your right answer. These are not. This would be a content error. Got it? Okay. Now let's look here. What is this asking me to do with these two functions? Add them together. So it's really this simple. You're going to write, instead of x squared plus 3, what am I going to write?
2.
Parentheses 2 squared plus 3. Because that's my f function. And then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a big old plus sign in the middle. Because it's asking me to add my functions together. And then what am I going to put in? Parentheses 1 plus 1. Because I'm going to use my g function for the next one. Are we okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to type it into our calculator exactly how it looks. We're not going to change anything. And what's my answer going to be?
9.
You all good at that?
9.
Not too hard? Yes.
I did it differently.
How'd you do it?
I did parentheses and then.
Oh, so you kept your parentheses around the actual functions? Okay, just remember, if it's a -2, you've got to have parentheses around it.
Yeah.
Okay? That's great. That's a great thought. Okay, so he kept his functions separate by keeping them within their own parentheses. So this is kind of how his paper looked. Okay? He kept his function separate. Are y'all okay with that? If you want to do that, you do it as well. Okay? The G function. How do I do the next problem? What does it start with?
G.
G. So what do I put?
Parentheses, -1, close parentheses, +1.
Perfect. And then a big old what?
Plus sign.
Plus sign for my adding my functions. And then how do I do the last one?
Parentheses, 1, close parentheses, squared, +3.
And then an equal sign. What do y'all get?
4.
4? How do y'all feel about this?
Good.
Okay, ready? Next 2 questions are from the STAR test last year. Try them.
Okay,
Ready, set, go.
I got this. I'm stuck.
Next 2 questions are from the STAR test last year. You try them.
Here it goes.
What do y'all think? Give me a thumbs up if you got them right.
Ooh.
Think about that. That's already 2 STAR questions you would get right, and you're only in the 6th week of school. Okay? Here's what I want y'all to understand. Some of the students that missed it last year, the reason they missed it is because they didn't plug it in with parentheses. So instead of seeing -3 times 5, what did their brain see? -35. Okay? Because if you don't plug it in using parentheses, you have no reason to separate those numbers anymore. Okay? So make sure you plug in using parentheses here. The other thing kids were doing was instead of saying 5 squared, which means 5 times 5, they were doing 5 times 2 to give me 10. Okay? So that's a different answer. Here, I'm not very sure where a lot of students were going wrong, except for the fact that maybe they forgot to distribute a negative. So maybe they said 3 times 3 was 9, and then they added 1 to be 10. But make sure you pay attention to your signs. Got it?
Yeah.
And type it in exactly how it looks. Don't change it up. Okay? So now let's talk about domain and range. Okay? This is another situation where they're going to tell us to evaluate functions. And the only thing you need to be able to remember is what letter is domain?
X.
X. So would y'all mind filling in that first blank? Your X are your domains. What does that make your ranges?
Y.
Y's. Okay? But here's the deal. I'm going to teach you a calculator trick right here, right now, where your calculator will find everything for you as long as it's not a fraction. Okay? So if it's a fraction, you're going to have to do it by your own hand, which is fine because you've just shown me you can. But other than that, it's very, very simple to use your calculator to get to the right answer here. So let's look at the first example. It's asking us to find what?
Range of a function.
We need to find the range, which means I'm looking for the what values? I'm looking to find the y values. I think I used, I don't know what color, whatever. Y's. They give me a function, so I'm going to use that. This is going to be important here. And what else did they give me? Which means they gave me all my x's. Okay? So I can choose to do something here, right? They gave me these x's, so that means I can take take it one at a time, I can take this negative 2 and plug it in where x is to find my answers. Right? Because that's what they want me to do. They gave me the x's, I go plug in for the x's. So then I can plug in a 0. Then I can plug in a 6. And then I can plug in an 11. And how many answers should I get? 4 separate answers. But there's a simpler way to do this. Y'all ready to see it?
Yes.
Okay. There is something on your calculator that will give you x and y's. What is it called? Your y equals screen. But specifically, what gives you an x value and a y value? Your tables. So we're going to create a table. Okay? On the left side, what letter's up top?
X.
What about the right side? Okay, so remember, I'm looking for my y's. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
They already gave me my. So let's go write our x's in. Go write in what you know. We've got a negative 2, a 0, a 6, and a 11. Now, what else did they give me that's going to be important to this situation? A function, but f of x is just a fancy way to say y. So guess which screen you can use? Go to your y equals screen. So let's go to that y equals screen.
I forgot how to do that.
Y.
You click the y equals screen.
Oh.
Top left side. Okay, what am I going to type in for my equation?
Parentheses.
Hold on, tell me exactly what my equation says.
Oh, negative x squared plus 3x minus 6.
Minus 6.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to type in the equation they gave me because now I'm in my y equals screen. Typing in exactly what they told me y equals. And guess where I'm going to go? To my table. Because I'm going to go use what they gave me to find my y's. So, if I'm scrolling, what's the first x they told me? Negative 2. So who is negative 2's partner? So in your table, you are going to write in what? Negative 16. Who is 0's partner? Negative 6. So let's go check. Is 0's partner negative 6? Yes. What's the next guy?
6.
Hold on. Who's the next x? 6. So we need to go down to 6 on the x side. And then who's its partner? So we're going to write in negative 24. Who is 11's partner? Negative 94. Now, here's the deal. Look at how they wrote domain. They're in little brackets, right? Least to greatest. So that's how you're going to have to write your ranges. Give yourself a little bracket. What's your littlest y?
Negative 24.
Negative 94, then what?
Negative 24.
Perfect, then what?
Negative 16.
Then what?
Negative 6.
And there's your ranges. That's your answer. Okay, did you have to do any math here?
No.
No, you don't even have to do math. You have to show me that you understand you're going to use your table to find your y values. Okay, so let's go look at the next opposite situation. What are they asking us to find now?
The domain value.
The domain, which means I've got to find the what? The x's. So they're going to be giving me the y's. Okay, I also have to keep in mind that I'm going to use this function. And then they gave me my ranges. So, what am I going to create? A table. I've got x's on the left, y's on the right. Again, what am I looking for? The x's. So that means I've got to look on the left side to find my answers this time instead of the right side. Make sense? Okay. What did they give me?
3x minus 8.
Good. So they gave me the function 3x minus 8. They also gave me negative 2, 1, and 7. We all go ahead and add a 14 at the very bottom because Coach Williams forgot to put that on your notes. Okay? So if they give me the right side, that means I've got to look on the right side to find my left sides. So let's go into our calculator and our y equals screen. What am I going to type in here?
3x minus 8.
3x minus 8. Then I'm going to say second table. Again, what side did they give me? The right side. So I've got to look on the right side. On the right side, do y'all see a negative 2 anywhere?
Yes.
Where?
The very top.
Right there.
Do you see how negative 2 is on the right side right here? Who's its partner?
2.
So that's my x. Are we okay with what I'm doing here? Does everybody understand?
Yes.
Okay. So do I see a 1 on the right side? Who's its partner? Good. Do I see a 7 on the right side? Who's its partner? Do I see a 14 on the right side? Okay, does that mean it doesn't have a partner?
No.
No, that means it's a fraction. Because they don't show fractions in your tables. So your job is to solve this one. The cool thing is you only had to solve 1 out of 4. So, using what they gave you, what is this 14?
X.
It's an x? Y. It's my y. So where would the y go?
To the X. Or the H.
Where the h of x is. So here's what I've got to do. I've got to be smart here. My y goes where my y equal would be. So my equation now looks like what?
Y
14 equals
3x
3x
minus
minus
8.
14 equals 3x minus 8. What do I do to solve this? Don't call me after dark. So how do I do it? Add 8 to what? To both sides. What's 14 plus 8?
22.
Good. Then what?
Then you divide.
Divide by 3. And in your calculator, type in 22 divided by 3. Math, enter. Tell me what it is.
22 over 3.
Again, this was going to be a fraction. So guess what my last answer is?
22 over 3.
Okay, so here's what you're going to do. On your homework, listen, stop packing up. On your homework, it's the 2-2 practice. There's an A and B for both sections. You have to do A and B. It's not a multiple choice there. Okay? Now, I just want you to do the front side. Do not do the back side. I love you. Have a great day. Make smart choices.